Autumn is here, we're having a storm right now, and I thought what better way to change from sandals to boots than having a boho skirt to wear with them. Midi skirts look really pretty with boots, and I have this lovely cotton in a burnt orange. I think it will look okay, it will be comfortable in summer as well, of course, but I think it will be lovely for autumn with the white and blue flowers. So with my block by hand, I'm going to trace it. And when I was designing the skirt in my mind, I thought it would be a good idea to have like a multi-size sort of skirt, up to a point, of course. It will be in your size, but you can easily make it a bit looser or tighter because it's going to have a cord in the waistband. For those days you are bloated, for those days you maybe are going to go to a lunch and you don't want to feel, you want to enjoy yourself and you don't want to be it tight in your waist. Or maybe you can even make it and share it with your sister or a friend. So even though I have my block here to trace it, I leave you the link anyways, you wouldn't really need it because it's going to be a bit looser. Of course, boho skirts have ruffles or tiers coming down, so I'll be making the hip panel and 2 more ruffles, but this depends on your taste. Maybe you can make only 1 big panel or even 3, it doesn't really matter. And because I've been gathering for a while, I'm going to make it with pleats. It's going to have pleats that are going to be sewn on the outside. With the help of my block, I'm going to trace the hip panels and then the ruffles in the desired measurements. I'm going to soften those edges on the hips and then sew them right sides together, as well as the ruffles, which I want them pleat and sew to the skirt. The waistband needs a buttonhole on the front. And once sewn to the skirt, I can then hem it and then go on with the tie, which is just a rectangle of material folded twice. So what I'm going to do is to fold my fabric in half. I'm not a fan of doing this because in case you don't get the most out of your material, but because I have 2 meters, I'm okay. And I'm going to place my pattern on top, my block, and then I have to turn it. So I'm going to be careful to have enough on both sides. And because it's going to be a bit of a wider sort of skirt, I'm going to be leaving 2 centimeters on the side of the hip, apart from the seam allowance. And then on top, I'm not going to trace it tighter either, but a bit looser, about 3 centimeters more as well. Because my fabric is 1.50 meters wide, I decided to just use that as a guide. So the bottom panel will be 3 meters. I have 2 panels of 1.50 each. And then the middle one will be 2 meters. So that way it's sort of balanced and it's not 4 meters of material either, which is quite a lot. And then for the hip panel, you have to take into account that you need to soften the edges, because if not, you'll have these 2 bigs on the side and it will look weird. For the rest of the panels it's not necessary because it's like a gathering, even though it's pleats, so it will be okay, it will balance itself. Everything I have right now is loose panels, so I'm going to start putting them together, but sewing right sides together. For example, the hip panels, right sides together along the side seams. And one thing I'm going to be doing is zigzag stitching this seam because I haven't had time to have a look at the overlocker, so I'm going to be doing that because this material frays a bit. And then the rest, I'll be making a fake overlock with one of the foot I have, but in the end, when I have everything together, so I don't have to do it twice, but only once, because it's quite a bit of seams. And then the rest of the panels, only one of them will I was saying that for the rest of the panels I won't be doing that, just only on one of them, because they get right to the end of the salvage edges. I'm going to be using them to hem, sort of. So those seams won't need any zigzag stitching, but one of them will, because it's half of the length. And now with my reams of fabric, I'm going to be pressing the seams and ironing them, so then I can make a pleat here on top of the two circles, so that way when I make these pleats I want to make, they are much easier and they look nicer. To make pleats, I've seen people that make them with a fork, but they are wider than what I want them to be. So I'm going to help myself with the tweezers I use to thread the serger. So let's see. And with the second ruffle I'm going to do the same, but the pleats are not going to be that close to each other. And for the waistband I'm going to use a piece of fabric of 20 centimeters wide by the meter length I have. And I'm going to fold it twice so it has the same amount of fabric on the inside. I'm not going to to interface it, because it has to be thin enough for it to gather when you pull from the tie, but it has to have a bit more structure. That's why I want it double. And in the middle, in the front, I'm going to sew a buttonhole in which I'm going to insert the tie. And now I can sew it to the top of the skirt. And for the tie, what I need is just a rectangle of material longer than my waistband, and I need to fold it twice just so the seams are inside. And to put it to insert it in the waistband, I'm going to use a safety pin. And to hem it, I'm going to help myself with the iron, and it's going to be a wide hem and a double one, folding twice. I reckon these kind of skirts are always trendy, are always fashionable, because you can wear it at any time. You can wear it to the beach, you can wear it in winter, depending a bit of the fabric you have, but they're always useful and handy to have. I love how comfortable it feels, and of course I love the pleats. I made pleats instead of the typical gathering, and I think they're quite playful because you can do different combinations. You can do boxes, or you can do, for example, 3 in one direction and the next 3 in the other, or as I did them, all of them in one direction in a ruffle and the next one on the other one. So that's different, and it's quite original because no one has the same. I love the material. It's a thin cotton. It's not a poplin. It's quite manageable, quite soft, and it feels heavy because of the 2 meters of fabric it has, but it looks amazing. It's quite flowy. And of course I love the idea of having 3 different skirt sizes in one because of the different situations you can be in. Maybe you've lost weight and you can't wear it anymore, or maybe you've gained weight and you would like to wear it, so at any point you can wear it. I love the colors of the material. I really like burnt orange, and I think it's quite wearable because you can wear it in autumn, in summer, it doesn't really matter. So I think I'm going to make the most out of it. Let me know then in the comments what you thought, and if you're planning to make one, and what other things you could add to it. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot, and that way you don't miss anything, because I upload a video once a week, and you can even give it a like. And I leave you other skirts I've made so you can have a look and stick around for a while. Bye! One of them will